and welcome back to another Casas Cashflow Online. And I hope you guys are having a great day, whatever you are in your life, in your business, and or around the world. Bianca, welcome back to another Casas Cashflow.
Thank you, Ms. Pino. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and we have a surprise store for you.
Well,
I think more than a surprise.
More than a surprise. Well, actually, I myself will be surprised in this show because we're going to be talking about, obviously, you see it right behind us, what is that most buyers never see, but Bianca is going to be leading this show moving forward. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Ms. Pino, we have a lot of viewers that have been watching us every show that we do, every information that we put out there, and they have given us questions, especially for Ms. Pino. They want to find out certain information.
Are there any for you?
No, they're all for you.
Really? So
specifically, they have asked, the way that you deliver information, the value that we all give, that we both give during our shows, have stood out for them, and viewers just want to know more.
Well, one thing I'm going to tell you 100% is keep the questions coming in, and we will be happy to answer to the best of our knowledge. And by the way, this is not paid advertising, but I'm really going to say something. This is educational, informational, whether you want to be a buyer, an investor, etc., etc. But let this be a launch pad for you to learn. And this is what we're looking forward, continue building on throughout the year and in the future with Casas and Cashflow. So what do you have for me? I don't know, actually. And this is the thing. I asked her, are you going to share some of the questions? She's like, well, I'm not too sure. And I said, why not? She's like, well, then you will know the answer. And I said, okay, let's do this. Don't share anything. Ask me whatever you want, and let's see how this unfolds. So I'm ready for you.
As we all know, real estate is a fascinating topic.
It is indeed.
So it does not matter the type of question that we ask. We know what real estate stands for. We know what real estate is, especially for us in our lives, and obviously for the people out there looking at what we do.
Well, it's been 30 years plus in the real estate, so trust me, there's a lot of rains and hurricanes, especially in Florida, that we have dealt with, and of course, real estate.
Okay, so let's start. Question number one.
What is it?
What's the difference between being a consumer and being a creator?
A creator. I would say a creator meaning more like an investor. I would say, right?
Yes.
Okay, so without really overthinking too much about the answer, this is what I will say. A consumer is always focused into what the payment is, the interest payment, because they're buying something that they have a lot of emotion tied in to them, especially if it's their first home, if the first time they're going to buy, even if it's the first time that you buy an investment property. Because by the way, some people will buy a property and it might be an investment property before they buy their own, the one that are going to live in. And they think in terms like, well, what am I saving the buck? Mm-hmm. A creator, on the other side, will be less emotional, more to the point. Will the numbers make sense? And will I be able to profit if I make this deal? And if those things line up and it's under their criteria, they make a decision rather quick, I would say faster than a consumer would, because they're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, this is a business deal. If I sit on it, I might lose it, and I want to make money because I already know the numbers and I'm going to make money. So that's my answer for that question.
Perfect. Why do most people buy homes at retail prices? The people want to know.
Because it's, socially speaking, is what people are most familiar with, that's the way to do it. However, it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to buy a retail price. How about if you can create the price? What about if you can create the asset and make more money, make more assets, more even create more assets? You don't have to always follow every single step the same exact way that everybody else is doing it, because you might end up paying more for a property that number one might not even be worth the numbers, especially when you analyze the numbers realistically speaking. So that's my answer for that.
So that takes you back almost to the first question, the difference between a consumer and a creator.
Correct, exactly.
Perfect.
Always an investor, you gotta think profitability. If a deal doesn't bring you profit, it's not a deal. And now you're bringing me to some of the Pino principles and Pino lessons that I've been sharing, and you can find those on our website vmrhomes.com under exactly Pino lessons, and a different page Pino principle, different content. But one of the lessons is, if the deal only works on the good days, it's a wrong deal to begin with. So that's my take for that question.
Perfect. How does developers create equity before the home is even finished? Excellent question.
By doing the numbers right, buying the land right, putting your budget right, and when that house is done, you got equity. If you're not able to achieve those three things aligned, it's not the right deal.
What were the three things again?
Buying the land, right?
At the right price,
in the right location, with the right conditions. Putting the budget, meaning like the construction budget,
mm-hmm.
that number, that total number,
mm-hmm.
makes sense. And when you add the land cost and the construction cost, and that house goes to the market, and let's assume you're going to sell it, you have a profit margin in there that is good enough to justify all the time, the delays, the effort, all the things that you have to go through. And on top of all of that, and after you pay everyone, you can make money. And you can be in the positive side of the cash flow.
So that's having equity even before the house.
Creating equity. But see, you don't do it and then figure out the numbers at the end. And that's one of the big mistakes, especially consumers that want to be investors. They think like consumers. They think that they are investor, but they are thinking as a consumer, and they don't do the numbers right. Take a note of that.
I like that. So now, understanding the builder's profit. See, you mentioned profit.
Okay.
Understanding the builder's profit. What is what most buyers never see?
Profit.
Profit.
Woo!
That was a good one.
Profit. You know why? Because people think that they are having a deal, and they go with the emotion a lot of times. And it doesn't matter if it's a woman or like a female or a male.
Right.
It happens to, to both parties, because sometimes people just fall in love with the deal because you're excited about doing the deal. And one thing is excitement, and another thing is that you are excited about a deal that is going to make you money regardless and no matter what. And that's a big distinction that you should make. Because if you don't make a profit, then it's not a deal. So if it doesn't make a profit, it's not a deal, then really you're a consumer.
That's why you always come back to reinforce.
Exactly.
Know your numbers before.
All the time.
Perfect. Now, what is the power of land plus construction versus buying existing inventory?
Wow.
I know we've shared this before in other shows. The power of having building, improving the land.
Right. Well, when you buy, you already most of the time you're buying at market value. So you are paying full price. You're making full price of the maximum that property will go for. Consequently, there's no equity. When it makes a difference, let's say you buy a property in short sale. Let's say you buy a property in foreclosure. Let's say you buy a property that is highly discounted. Then yes, you already, example, you're buying a home for $250,000, and then you can turn that around and you know that actual value of the property is $450,000. Oh yeah, there is a difference. So okay, then that's a great deal. When you buy versus the other part of it, land, if you can buy land and you can improve the land, in the improvement of the land is where the magic happens. And look if that is actually true, and don't believe what I'm saying. When you go to the IRS code, land cannot barely be depreciated. But what can you depreciate over a period of years? And sometimes you can do accelerated depreciation, but that's another class. All the improvements above. So yes, land, construction, that's why we are big proponents that people learn and get to really understand, to wrap their head around of the opportunity that it can bring to you, to your life, to your family, to your legacy. If you go with the option of new construction.
Awesome. Now, because of that, I have a question that it has like star.
What is that?
How does an ordinary person can participate in new construction opportunities?
First of all, this is an area that is open for everybody. There is no judgment here as far as, or limitations in the sense of who can do it, who cannot do it. Do you speak English? Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak Arabic? Are you young, too young? Are you too old? Are you to this, to that? You've never done it before. But there is one thing where you need to start, and that is education. You have to be open to understand that you got to educate yourself. And educate yourself on what? Not that I am calling you in any way, shape, or form to anybody illiterate, but there are things that we are not proficient at. There are areas, professionally speaking, that we are not good at. Not because we don't know or because we're dumb. It's just because we have never been taught about it. Like, for example, if I need to go now and fly an airplane, I would be like, somebody speaking Chinese to me, I would have no clue. However, if somebody speaks to me about the process of construction, then it will be like, oh yes, this is what we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, 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 and you follow the steps. The same goes for anybody wanting to, even if you've never done it before. Where do you start? First, making the decision. And second, the second decision is to make the decision that you know that you need to learn. The process, the steps. How does it work? How do you do that? So you can go from 1 to 100 or A to Z and get it done. That's my answer for that.
Perfect. Now, this last question.
You've been asking a lot of questions, so I was wondering.
This last question,
okay,
it's a little bit loaded. So I'm going to say it once.
You know when somebody says the question is loaded.
I'm going to say it once with all the fixings on the side. Here we go.
What is it?
What is the difference between, and a lot of consumers like to know, and a lot of new investors also want to know, what is the difference between a liability, an asset, an income producing real estate? What is the difference between a liability, an asset, and an income producing real estate?
Well, I'm going to make it I'm going to explain it or share how I think of it in very simple terms, and maybe some of you, and maybe some have heard it, some of you haven't, but Robert Kiyosaki explained those two words very well in all his books. And a liability is going to take money away from your pocket. An asset will add value to your life. And then the cash flowing part of it is, if it's an asset, it should be able to bring you cash flow. And I know sometimes, depending how the real estate market is, there are times when maybe a property, it might feel like a little bit of a liability. But then again, where in the real estate cycle are you in? Maybe it's where the houses are selling slower, investors are buying less, maybe interest rates are a bit higher, so all of that slows down the economy a little bit. And then maybe a property at that moment might feel like a liability. However, where are you in the real estate cycle? Because just because you're making a couple $100 less a month, it doesn't mean it's a bad investment. Maybe you were expecting to make, let's say, $100 a month in positive cash flow when you're really indeed, realistically speaking, you're doing 200. Is that good or bad? It is what it is for the market at that moment. But still, if you're able to cash flow positively when it comes to the cash flow, then it still is an asset, because it is an asset and it will bring value. Maybe you hold it 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, and then you're able to sell it or refinance it. I mean, if you sell it, you cash in all the equity that you've gained all throughout those years. And if you refinance it, you can still keep the asset, get some cash out that you can use for further buy more assets, and then keep the loop going. And that way you focus into the assets and the cash flow and be able to do that. What if you will be able to do that starting with one property, and every year buy one? In 10 years, you will have at least 10 homes, a portfolio of 10 properties. And if they all are cashing in a drip every month, you will be for sure into the few $1 million worth of real estate assets under your control. And that will give you the possibility to be able to then have a lot more options and keep doing it until you find that you say, like, you're complete, you're good with what you have. And that number or that level or that amount of cash flow every month, it's personal and private for every person. Even if you're married, your partner might have a different number in mind. Maybe one is more spender than the other. While you're thinking that maybe you need 10 properties, the other partner will say, well, we need 20. But this is something that you build together, work together as a team, and then build that portfolio, especially for the years to come. And that's one side of that, because as long as we are alive on earth, we need money every single day, and we need to have assets that are able to provide or help you or open the opportunities or the door for you to have a nice and comfortable life. And then when you're dead, well, first of all, you don't need to worry about it, but don't leave the assets unattended and then give your family a problem that they are not prepared to. That's why I circle back to education. If you educate yourself properly into understanding the assets, what is a liability, how every property cash flow, and then what do you need to do to grow the portfolio, and what do you need to learn about maintaining that portfolio, and what do you need to learn once you're not here, what is going to happen after. All of that is part of your education. And if you need any help, we're available. We're happy to help. And no more questions?
I have one more.
And what is that?
One more. What will you say to that person that is sitting in their car watching this video? What will you say for that person that's going to look at the replay, who's going to go ahead and find this video sitting at the office or sitting at home? That they're thinking, they're wondering, they feel like, I'm almost ready to go and make my first deal in real estate. I'm ready to take that leap of faith into real estate. What would be that one thing that would encourage them, that you can say to them so they could do it, so they can make that decision? I know we don't force anybody to make those decisions.
Right.
Sometimes all it takes is for someone who's done it before, who is an expert at it, who has been able to manage the cycles of real estate. What do you say?
I would say, if you want to do it for you, for yourself, for your family, for your future, do it. And I just have a quote that I personally wrote in my first book that I ever wrote. Is called A Millionaire's Approach, and you can find it in Amazon. And in the end of the first chapter, there's a line that I do it by doing it. Very simple. Do it by doing it. Take action. And once you make that decision to take action, get together or surround yourself with people that are doing it, that have done it, that are currently doing it, and they have the expertise to be able to add value to your life. And sometimes don't mistake people adding value to your life. If your husband or wife works in a completely different industry, that is not the person. You love them, you respect them, and you count them in on your decision. But they are not the person that you need to go to for expertise. Neither is a real estate agent that wants to sell you a piece of property because you're going to make a commission. That is not the mentor that is going to teach you. And you need to understand that. And I love, real estate agents and professionals because we deal with them all the time. However, their role or capacity in which they can help you, they might help you find a piece of property that you already learn, like what is it you want to do, what is it you want to, in what area you want to buy, how much you want to pay, certain things. But they are not in the capacity of being a mentor for you to become a real estate investor. For example, a contractor or a general contractor. Yes, you might need a general contractor, but in what capacity are you using their expertise? They can help you, maybe put together the team, they can help you, but they are going also have a vested interest in making money on the deal. So those are things that you have to know, like where is bias, where yes and where no. At the end of the day, yes, you're going to talk to agents. Yes, you're going to talk to title companies. Yes, you're going to talk to investors if you don't have the money to do it. And you're going to have to talk to assemble your team, but that is part of your education. That's part of your process. But don't let not having those, how can I say that the fact that you haven't done it before deter you from making the decision to go ahead and do it and take action. Because the first thing you need to do is, look, you're gonna now you're watching this, but tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to go do the same thing you've been doing. And if you want to shift and you want to change your life, then you're going to start thinking, what is the next step? Even if it's 1 degree further, one step further, that you're going to take in order to then get yourself proficient and knowledgeable enough that you feel confident with yourself to say, you know what? I'm buying this, I am doing this, and a year from now or 2 years from now, this is where I'm going to be, and this is how much I'm profiting, and I'm going to be so proud of myself. And if you do it, and you do it from your heart, you're going to be extremely happy. Not because everybody out there is going to be applauding you or anything like that, or, or public recognition, none of that. It's because you believed in you make the decision, you took the action, you put yourself to learn. And then, yes, you can tap yourself in the back and say, let's do it again, and let's do it 10 more times, 20 times, 50 times. That's how you build your life, and now circling back, and that's what creators do instead of consumers.
I love that. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. And remember, do it by doing it. Education speaks loud, because then you will make the right decisions, because you have intelligent, educated information, so you will definitely move forward towards those dreams. And that's the only way that you can build your dreams, by doing it.
Absolutely. And there are many people out there in every country, in every city, in every state that are doing it successfully. And those are the people that you need to pay attention to, connect with them, be humble enough to be wanting to learn from them, and then learn from them, and then you go do your thing. All right. So I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this show and this impromptu. That's how you say it?
Yes.
Impromptu questions. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't share them with me. So it's kind of like I was excited about to see what was that. And I was actually completely thought you were going a different direction. But thank you. I appreciate you all. Are we complete for today?
Complete.
All right, then. Thank you all for watching. We're available if you feel that we can add value to your life. And go yourself, have a great rest of your day. And well, now I'm going to get up and actually stop this recording. See you guys in another Casas and Cashflow Online. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.